Hello and welcome to Who You'd, an unofficial Doctor Who watch along podcast. But today is not going to be a Doctor Who episode. Today, me and Ben just kind of want to talk about Severance. So, guess what? We're talking about Severance, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We are in the middle of season 2 of Severance right now as we're recording. We're hoping to get this out as soon as possible. So, this isn't like completely outdated. The season's already done. All of our theories and speculation is completely just out the door. They were actually they were just refining Chris Rose out of movies this whole entire time. The show's over. Season 2 was the last episode of the show was the last season of episode 2. It was all a dream or some shit like that. It doesn't matter.
I think it's already been renewed for a 3rd season, so it's definitely there's more to the story.
My big thing right now is that like I don't know if you saw, but it took 3 years for this season 2 to come out.
Mhm.
So like it's not gonna be 3 years, right? They learned their lesson a bit. Maybe that was COVID.
God, I hope not. But there isn't unless it's literally on cable, it's low budget, CIA, FBI, General Hospital, whatever. There's always multiple years between shows these days.
But like, come on. You knew this was gonna be as big as it was. You could have filmed season 2 and season 3 back to back, or like at least wrote them back to back. I hope season 3 scripts are at least in the works or like completed or done, maybe.
Here's hoping. I mean, who knows with shows these days? Like Stranger Things, do they even have a script for season 5 yet? Are they filming?
I think that's already like done filming, man. You're completely out of the loop. I haven't even watched the show.
But I mean, still, it's been years. I don't do people care about Stranger Things anymore?
I never watched it to begin with.
That was like the hottest show of 2016 or whatever it was.
But it just looked like, oh, I've seen like it's like, oh, it's remember the Goonies slash Steven Spielberg movies? Like, I'm like, okay. I didn't care for it. I know a lot of people loved it. I probably would missed out on a great show.
Eh, it's got some good parts and it's got some parts. As the seasons have incremented, there's more but still some good.
Hmm.
I'll watch season 5, but I don't really care anymore.
But this is not a Stranger Things episode bonus podcast. This is a Severance bonus podcast. So it's kind of weird because it's like it's not going to be a traditional like podcast structure that we've kind of set up.
Yeah, I don't have any notes. I didn't watch this show considering the fact that we were gonna talk about it in any capacity on our Doctor Who podcast.
So like just to give a background on this show, Ben, you start off with what's your background with Severance?
I knew about it. I had heard of it. I saw a couple clips on TikTok actually of just little brief scenes and oh yeah, that sounds kind of interesting. And finally said, screw it, I'm gonna watch it. So like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started watching it, which is good timing. Like I had to wait for the episode that came out today, but I could watch all of season 1, all of season 2. I think we talked about it on the podcast before, like, "Oh, Cam, you gotta watch it. It's so good." So I told you to go watch it, and here we are.
And then he told me to watch it after recording of an episode. I was like, Ben, you know what? I'm gonna finally watch it. I'm gonna watch the first episode right now after this podcast.
And then tomorrow afternoon, he says, "I'm all caught up."
It wasn't tomorrow afternoon. It was like a day it was like a day and it took me 48 hours.
Yeah.
So it was like it was Saturday night. I started watching it. Monday, I was already done with it.
Yeah, Sunday, you're like, "Oh my god, that season 1 finale."
And like part of my thing was like, all right, I was only gonna binge watch season 1. I'm gonna slow myself with season 2. I just watched season 2 same day, majority of it. I watched like the last episode on that Monday. I quickly just fell in love with it
Oh, yes.
and was taken aback. I heard of the show. I heard that a lot of people loved that first season, and I just saw a lot on my Twitter feed of people talking about season 2, saying how great it was, saying that it was some of the best TV that they've seen recently, and how like Ben Stiller was just knocking it out of the park with this show. And I finally took the plunge, and I'm very happy that I did. Overall, I thought season 1 was pretty good for the majority of it, except for those last 2 episodes where it, like, instantly went to like skyrocketed to being like, oh no, this is a really great show.
Yeah, those first, like, 3, even 4 episodes I thought were kinda slow. I wasn't fully on board and committed yet. It was intriguing, but, still not really sure where things were going. But yeah, those last 2 episodes ended up being back to back. The rest I spread out because. Oh, by the way, this is very much spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, go watch the show right now. Binge it in 2 days if you have to.
Which I also want to put out there before you get into whatever you're gonna say about spoilers. I am so happy that I didn't get anything spoiled. This show would have took a lot out of it to knowing a lot of those twists in season one, and even those twists that we have had so far in season two. Being able to watch it clean, it was special.
But yeah, the penultimate episode ending with them activating the overtime contingency, and then literally that whole final episode just, like, on the edge of your seat, jumping back and forth between all 4 of them, just the tension building, never ceasing for 45 minutes. Truly a masterclass.
But even like that second to last episode, like I think it's Defiant Jazz scene, like such a great scene. And then you're just like that episode just builds and builds to, of course, that moment where it actually happens, and then we get that, like you said, that masterpiece of the overtime sequence in the last episode of episode 9 of season 1. It really is incredible. That whole entire time, you had that suspense of just, like, come on, just and then, like, right when the story is, like, getting to a point of, like, "I wanna know more," it cuts to the other character, of course. It's just, like, one of those great moments where you just have 3 I was gonna say 3 interesting stories. You have, like, 4 interesting stories, but then also you have, because you have the 4 main characters that are severed, and then you also have the Kobold storyline also in that as well. Like, it's incredible.
Oh, it is.
I saw a funny infographic of the, "Hang in there," and and it's, Dylan spreading his arms out with the 2, like, buttons.
And of course the cliffhanger for season 1, Innie Mark screaming, "She's alive," cut to black. What a way to end the season. I cannot imagine waiting for 3 years.
Oh, no, but also having that reveal of Heliar being, Helena Egan is another one that was like, "Oh my god, I did not expect that to happen."
No. Yeah, we go all of season 1 essentially not knowing who anybody but Mark is, uh, outside. And it's very.
But then, like, by episode 9, no, sorry, episode 8, because episode 8, remember, starts with the, like, Irving storyline of, like,
Yeah.
him in his, like, paintings. And then, like, I forget if it's episode 7 or 8 is when we get they uses, Dylan's overtime. And then, of course, he finds out he has a kid. So we have all of them set up that's like, "Okay, we know everybody else's life. Now we just have this big one looming over us." And then, of course, it is revealed that of that big secret. Haven't looked to see how much of that was. Like, I would love to, like, look at the fan theories of season 1 and see, like, did people really get the Egan stuff? That she was Helena Egan this whole entire time? I don't know how much of that is set up. Did you catch any setups for that one?
It's hard to know retroactively what was a hint. I can't think of anything. I bet if I rewatched season 1, I would pick up on something.
I think I did see something that somebody said, like, there was a setup somewhere and, like, when they go to, like, having a blank on the name.
The Eternity Wing?
Yeah, like, there is, like, a setup there that she might be an Egan just by, like, the way that it's framed. But, like, the wife thing is set up. Did you catch that setup?
Uh, Gemma being Miss Casey?
Yeah, did you catch that one? Because like, Dylan multiple times in the show says, like, "She's my wife." Multiple times he says that.
Oh. Yeah, I do remember saying that.
like multiple times, and it's so cool that like they did. It's clearly set up, and then of course there is like we don't really see the photographs of his wife the whole entire time.
No, they keep it just out of frame for the whole season, so we don't know what she looks like until we see that wedding photo in the last episode.
And I don't know if there's other setups. I imagine there probably are, just with how this show is, how well made the show is.
Oh wait, no, we knew it was Miss Casey after he rips up the photo. We see that.
Yeah, like it's so fucking good, man.
It is. I guess should we talk about season 2?
But then yeah, but then like all right, before we move on to season 2 though, there's some questions that we still have from season 1. Like the season 1 sets up the goat stuff,
Yeah.
which of course is expanded on in season 2. So we probably should just wait to talk about season 2 for that stuff.
Also, what the fuck was the waffle party?
Like who the fuck knows?
Weird Kier sex stuff. I don't even know what that.
But then who are those people? Are those people severed? Are they just like do they work for Lumen?
Maybe that's another department.
Which is one thing I am kind of sad about season 2 so far is that like I wish they went more into the different departments in season 2.
But we go to the goat department.
Yeah, but like you know what I mean. There's something more to the optical and design department. And we spent a long time with of course with Bert with that one. It's like with the I wish that we had and then the goat department of course was already set up in season 1. So I wish that we got a little bit more into the severed wings and other departments in season 2. But of course there's still time. But I expect probably not because the story is just gonna keep on ramping up from where we are at the moment. Which again, we are recording this. Episode 6 just came out yesterday.
Yeah.
So we have not seen anything else yet. So there's still time. But season 2, Ben, let's just get right into it. Because originally we were like, let's do season 1. And I was like, there's like yes, there's a lot to talk about in season 1. But right now I just kind of want to talk about season 2 because that's what's on my mind at the moment. So Ben, like episode 1, were you shocked about like where did you thought like did you my question also to you is like you said you watched these one by one. Did you not want to immediately after that season 1 cliffhanger not want to watch the next episode?
It was hard. It was tough.
Somebody's
Um,
listening to this that waited 3 years, man.
I know. I had to wait. God, it must have been almost 24 hours. But yeah, that first episode is definitely very good. My initial thoughts at the time were it kind of took the wind out of my sails of like that final episode of season 1 was just so good. First episode of season 2 is really good, but not quite at that same level. And it doesn't fully resolve things. It just kind of we're back at mostly the status quo, but things are different now, seemingly different.
First we get like the cop out of like the new MDI department, which of course then they just take back like a couple minutes later.
I feel like that's gonna come back into a play.
No, dude. That old guy is not coming back, dude. He was pissed off. Do you not remember?
Well, I mean, even if their innies don't, maybe their outies will be somehow relevant to the Lumen case. What is going on?
Maybe because they were at that different location, so maybe that different
Yeah.
location might more come into play with it. I would say it's probably that more than the characters. Unless who knows? Maybe they will like come unsevered too with Mark, and like they'll all go after Lumen. But yeah, no, that first episode is great. I loved the way that like just to talk about the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. One is completely innie, like he walks right back out of the elevator. And then the second episode is completely outie, the same period of time from outie Mark's perspective, which is an interesting uh framing setup.
No, it's great. I just looked it up. I wouldn't have been surprised if they released them both at the same time. But no, people waited a whole week for that, which is kind of shocking to me because you kind of want both, you know? That's one of the great things about their show is that there is like the 2 storylines going on at the same time of our main character.
I mean, I think it still works to let it stew a week because then it's a week later that all the things that were set up in that first episode are knocked down as being falsehoods.
Oh yeah. But you can kind of assumed in the season in that first time, it's like Lumen has changed.
I mean, the first episode, I assumed at least some of it was true, like, 5 months could have passed.
Nah, it was just a few days, which is so smart to have like that manipulation of those poor characters. And of course, season Cobell is not no longer like the head person of the severed floor. So now it's Mr. Milkcheck or Mr. Milkshake is now the main man. And my God, he just is killing it this season. That actor does such a great job in his performance.
Oh, yeah. So much like, I'm thinking back to the most recent episode, just such, like, raw emotion. I also think it's an interesting aspect to the show that we have these people that are in positions of power, but they are also, in a sense, trapped. Like Miss Cobell or Harmony. I forget which is her real last name. Is at the whims of the is it Natalie and the board
Mhm.
and the Egans, etc. Milchek is the same. Helena is, there's always something more that is kind of locking them in the situation that they're in.
And like the big theory at the moment, the big question is like there is a mystery behind Milchek and Cabell, right? There are these people that are working on the severed floor that are not severed, right?
Yeah.
Like, is there some type of twist there that you think, Ben? Like, do you think there's a possibility that they are severed and maybe like their any just took over themselves in some way? Because like they love this company. Remember that Cobell like worshipped at the altar in her home? Remember that?
Yeah,
They definitely have much more of an attachment to this than a normal person would with their job.
but I don't know. In many ways, Lumen is a religion.
Yeah.
The Egans are Christ. Here is Jesus, which there's a lot of interesting parallels too in the most recent episode of Bert. He's a man of Kier and a man of Jesus, innie and outie.
And my God, Ben, I gotta enter right now. I'm sorry for people listening to this. And that's like, oh, they're jumping all the fuck around. I'm sorry. We did not have a structure to this.
There's so many different thoughts.
But like I messaged you like a theory a couple days ago of just like Bert's fucking lying. And that person was fucking right, Ben. How did they know, Ben?
Yeah.
Like Bert's a fucker.
So what do you think is going on there? So I think his husband Fields, he's not mistaken.
Oh no.
Somehow he has been working at Lumen for 20 years.
Yep.
He probably has a hand in the development of the severance procedure.
I don't know about that. But he definitely worked at Lumen for 20 years. And then of course, like I think and the whole Jesus and like the any is like separate soul. Totally that I buy that 100,000%. Because that sounds real, you know? Oh, so it's like Fields, the way that Fields describes that, it's coming from a real place, you know?
Yeah.
I think that also like remember how the whole reason for that is that like failed not failed Bert did bad stuff in the real life, which is probably has something to do with him being part of Lumen.
Yes. And he wants any Bert to go to heaven.
Which of course now he's scared because of what did he do with Irving and did he cheat on him? But then it's separate person. But then is it still cheating technically?
I mean, Fields seemed it was rattled him for sure, but at the end of it, he came to the conclusion that these are essentially separate people.
Oh yeah,
Both Bert and Irving are deserving of love.
any Bert didn't know about fails unless they did that fucking visitation shit with Bert.
No. Ooh, that visitation shit.
Oh no, but like it's so good. But that's why it's like there's some people but thinking like the that has something to do with the with Milchek Cobell being innies because like maybe that's what they're doing for Dylan is that they're preparing for the innie Dylan to take over and like now though his wife is going to be like oh no yeah let's just have that Dylan be the Dylan all the time you know because she's you saw her at that fucking dinner table when she lied about not seeing Dylan.
Oh, yeah, she loves any Denny.
Did he? Did he?
She loves Annie Dillon more?
Oh, there's definitely that attraction to Annie Dillon of just the pure innocence. And also, it's just like it doesn't have all that baggage of all those of the years of marriage and stuff like that. And also, it's like,
Do you think Addie Dillon's a piece of shit?
yeah, it's like he just wants to scuba dive. He needs to find purpose in life. Oh, it's so fucking good, Ben. Like the fact that like these characters can be so dimensional that like having the inside story and the outside story, but then having them now it's like that point that they're so connected that they're coming the same story. It's so fucking
Yeah,
impressive.
and all these actors too is very impressive. They're playing 2 completely different characters.
And again, just like coming right off of episode 6, we gotta talk about it just because like fuck it, we have to talk about it because it's like the big reveal of season 2 so far has been the whole Helena being Helly R this whole entire time.
Well, yeah, she's been spying.
Since season 2, I should say.
Yeah,
Like, which came out of nowhere for me. I would imagine being a part of the conversation at that point, being on like the Reddits, being on Twitter, you probably would have like more people would have found the pieces of just like, oh yeah, like that makes sense because like she is acting weird. We didn't get like that clean like all the other characters like Bert in particular. Like we saw Bert like screaming
yeah.
for Bert, so we would have got
She should have been, like, mid-speech
like
still.
screaming in the speech, being like, "No, you don't understand." Then like then it's like cut to like she would still be screaming and like had that emotion, but instead she just kind of gets off of that elevator. It's such clever, and there's probably other things too. There's just like the way that she acts and stuff. That's like,
Yeah,
and you can kind of tell in hindsight that just like there was something off there.
yeah. It's funny, I'm watching it with my family. My mother guessed it, and both my father and I were like, "What are you talking about? You're not paying attention. She's just embarrassed that being an Egan, afraid they're gonna turn on her, so she's hiding things."
I think that still was that is the what you're supposed to think in that moment.
Yeah,
Like that the design is you're supposed to think, oh, she doesn't want to tell them that it's Egan because like who knows? Like imagine if she told Irving like back in season 1, Irving would have been like praying at her feet. Like no, it's so good. And then like that moment that John Turturro just kills it in that moment of when he is like drowning Helena for Milchek to change her back. Ah, it's one of those moments again, like the episode 9 moments that's just like I had to like sit up watching it, just had to be like, I was like, holy shit. Like I was like so shocked and just like so invested in it.
oh, yeah.
And then we get that moment of like, I don't know. Have you seen the edits that people have made?
I've not.
People have made outlets of right from her ending the speech to her drowning. It's just like that's her day from her perspective. There's also did you see the edits of I want to talk about we were talking about season sorry, episode 1 and 2 of season 2, but did you see the edits at like the opening of not the opening, but like the characters returning that day where all the second day of no, is it second or third? I forget. Whatever the day is that all the characters come back in season episode 1. It's perfectly timed for both episodes. So if you watch them both one on top and one on the bottom, it's perfectly timed. It's really
Oh,
cool.
like the same point in the runtime?
Yeah. No, the point in the runtime. No, it's like edited so like the characters will leave to go to the elevator and drop down to the elevator right at the same time as the other one is dropping into the elevator. It's just like perfectly timed. It's really cool. But the Helena reveal was came out of nowhere, but also like again, it just like all the reveals from the show perfectly set up. You buy it 100%. It's not like a reveal that's like that's bullshit. That came out of nowhere. You don't earn that. All the reveals so far have been really earned.
Yes.
Which that's why like a part of me skip. I will talk about that more later. I find it a little bit off so far of just the Helly R's reaction to episode 5 when she finally does like get back. Like I guess again there's like a little bit of time there that we didn't get to see Helly R like I wish we got to see more Helly R's perspective of just like she just came out from finding herself being an Egan and just like experiencing the Audi world. I feel like the character like I wish we had some more time with her, just like what that we had with all the other characters of just like, oh, this is like experiencing what just happened in episode 9. I don't feel like we got that a lot with Helly just because of the whole Helena switch.
There were other things that kind of were brought to the forefront first, like almost drowning
Oh
and
yeah, and then of course Mock has that detachment from her because he's still processing the whole thing and also having sex with her, and just like that whole arc for that character has been so interesting the past 2 episodes. While having that moment in episode 6 of having them get to have that moment that Helena was able to take away from her, and like people have been saying it so much on Twitter today. I'm just like, that's such a great moment of just like having it be like, no, I like, don't tell me, I want that moment. It feels like it's
yeah,
a moment where it's like when this character that's just had no control, it's like a moment for her to really feel like she's in control. It's such a great moment for that character, don't you think, Ben?
absolutely.
And like feels 100% earned. But God, Twitter algorithm works really fast. Cause like I just started watching the show and now it's just like my Twitter feed's just the For You page is just mobbed with just Severance shit.
Oh, yes.
But like that last episode, like uh the the Chinese restaurant scene, talking about like the actors being so fucking good. That is just a testament to both of them of how like they play it both flirtatious, but they are also just you can tell that Mock is like he is a little bit scared of her and also was like pissed off at her because like she knows about his wife, but also like he has that thing inside of him of his innie coming out being like, I do have a connection to this person.
Just that tension.
But like attention, but also they had that like that flirtatious ping pong back and forth together as well in that.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's Helena,
Yeah.
because she seems to legitimately like Mark. She's jealous of Helly, jealous of having that connection that as a Egan she probably hasn't experienced before, which is I'm assuming one of the primary motivations, as well as espionage for why she was impersonating Helly, and now maybe also trying to get with Audi Mark.
Like I don't think in that scene she was trying to get with Audie Mock. I think she just wanted to know more information about Audie Mock at that moment. At least that's my interpretation.
Yeah. I mean, she was definitely applying a little bit of pressure, but
Like there's definitely that like there's the moment where she is jealous of her innie when she's like watching that tape of them kissing.
yeah,
And like you could tell that like just by her just keeping on rewatching it, like there is a jealousy there, which of course then is like when she does take control of Heliar and like has sex with Mock, it is a bit of like a you can tell it is a little bit of just like a fuck you to her any self, but in the other way there is like a like you said, there is a bit of a jealous element to it of just why can she have this but I can't because I'm an Egan and like her father probably never wanted her to waste her time with a relationship like that. It's very interesting. Like we talked about before, it's like it's very three-dimensional. Like it's another thing that's like it's not really clear. You can have to like read into it in a way, you know?
yeah,
Which is what makes the show great is that like there is elements to the show that they don't fully explain to you, so you kind of have to read it, the scenes and the read what the characters are, what's really going on in the scene, which is what makes really great TV.
absolutely. Yeah, all the characters are very three-dimensional, fully realized human beings.
Even like down to Mock's, not Mock, sorry, Dylan's wife, which is of course the new character for this one, but like it's already like the her lying at the table already gives so much like details to that character. Her just saying agreeing to meeting his innie is such an interesting concept. Because like who would say yes to that? That's like the whole point, right?
I mean, it's probably started with just morbid curiosity. Who is this other man that is also my husband?
But it's also there's that great element to it of just this man sucks, but then he is and the Audi is just this man that just is awful at everything, but his innie is just the greatest at his work. Has to get all those rewards in a sense. What's the word?
Incentives?
Yeah, incentives. Like just always getting those fucking melon potties and those the what is it, what's those finger things called, the finger traps?
Chinese finger traps?
Yeah. Always getting those. My theory at the moment, I don't know how much you feel about this, Ben, but like there's definitely, I think, an element there that like the data that they were finding, I think it's probably has something to do with memories. Because again, it's like that, like I think that kind of makes sense just because they fail it, right? Like those numbers evoke an emotion and then they put those emotions to bins. It's like there's something to that that I feel like could lend itself really much to like their own memories and there's already like brain stuff happening. And then like we had that element of they already set up of they brought somebody back from the dead unless she never was dead to begin with.
It was probably, she was abducted and there was
Oh, you think abducted? Like, cause I think you could make an argument that it could have been like a stage thing, but like, why? Like, again, like, that's gonna be the interesting thing.
but I mean, like, the ashes is someone else.
Oh, well, technically, do you know like the fact behind ashes is that technically most of the time it is?
I did not.
Like ashes, because it's like they like it's not like it's a deep cleaning every time. So like majority of the time, it's like those ashes are not really gonna be
Well,
like
sure.
the people's actual
For
ashes and
all
stuff.
intents and purposes,
No,
though,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
it was not the body of his wife that
yeah.
was burned. It was someone else, and she really is still alive, unless there's some weird clone shit going
But
on.
no, because he says he identified the body too.
I mean, she could've that body at the mortuary could have been her, and then they swapped. She could have been, in a trance or something that imitated death. I think there are ways where that could have happened. Unless there's clone shit happening, like what happened on the Ortbo, the retreat. The like weird clone the people that were pointing and they
Yeah.
were what the fuck was that about?
Who knows? Did you see that tweet that I sent you from Gene Park from the Washington Post?
Probably, but I've forgotten what it was.
He said he's a massive fan of Severance. I don't know. Do you know who Gene Park is?
He has like a Kirby profile pic, right?
Yeah, he is the like video game reporter at the Washington Post. He loves Severance. And like he had a great tweet that I sent you. Of just he was watching these reactionary videos on YouTube, and these reactionary people thought it was clones the whole time. And they're like on episode 7 of season 1, and they're still like, "Wow, there's clone shit happening." They don't understand the whole concept of Severance. So they just think it's
Yeah.
two separate people, which is so fucking funny that like some people are just that like not that media literate.
Mhm.
I don't know how you can watch like episode 1 and think that they're two separate people. They clearly established that it's the same person, but like,
Yeah, the same vessel.
ugh. But yeah, like it's. I kind of thought it was maybe like a shared illusion in a way. But also at that point in the episode, I was thinking the whole third thing was like some type of fucking like VR type shit. Cause I'm like, they wouldn't let them go out, but then they let them go out. They let them see the biggest waterfall in the world, then.
Yeah, I started thinking maybe this because the episode before was him
Yeah,
starting the reintegration.
yeah.
I thought this was all just in his head.
Which again, I think that is the response that I think you're supposed to have is that you're supposed to have like you because you start out with like the Annie's being in this non workplace environment, and you're going, what the fuck? And then of course the twist is that they're not really, and it's actually they actually are there on a fucking weekend trip retreat type shit.
Yeah.
Great memes on the Reddit page of just like the like a book of just like the actual tallest waterfall and just being like bullshit. That's not the tallest waterfall.
Yep.
But there's also something sweet about Milchek. Like they don't know that. Milchek is just like it's kind of cool that they think that that is actually the tallest waterfall in the world, you know. But like I always kind of wondered with like yes they have no memory of themselves, but like what it seems like it's kind of give and take. You know what I mean? About memories. Like some things are like crystal clear, like they know how to speak English.
Yeah, I assumed they don't have memories, they don't have context, but they have knowledge. They know what a seal is. They know what the ocean is. Irving knows how to drive a car. He has that muscle memory.
Yeah, I guess. Because I was thinking that also when I was watching the episode. I'm like, how the fuck is he driving a car right now?
So they have like base
Yeah.
knowledge. Like they might know what a seal is, but they don't know what it looks like or what. or they can't recall having ever seen a picture of one.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that's probably the angle that they would say is the case.
Yeah. What do you think Cold Harbor is?
Well, I think like my theory is that it is fucking they're bringing back people from the dead from these fucking memories because like they love Mock in particular. Mock is special in some case, and I think that has something to do with Miss Casey and like his wife.
Yeah, at the end of the first episode, we have that little flash of
Yeah,
Gemma. So in some way, Cold Harbor is tied to Gemma, and only Mark can do this.
which is why my theory is that it is memories, and he's creating her from these memories, like a complete like person. That's my theory. That's my 2 cents. Probably gonna be way off fucking bat, but like makes sense to me. What do you think, Ben?
It's probably something with memories. But why would Gemma in particular be that crucial?
Who knows? That's the question. But also like the if that is the case, also that leads like all right, Irving kind of makes sense because we set up he had the stuff of his dad, remember? So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe there is something element there of just
Yeah,
like
like what if Mark is working on Cold Harbor, which is Gemma? What are the other people doing?
it's like, yeah, like I could understand maybe in some way that like Irving, they set up the father, that like the father is like no longer there, presumably. So like maybe he's working on his dad, and then Dylan and Helena, we have nothing. I think they did mention at some point the reason why MDR is chosen because like of certain factors, but like I don't know, we haven't really established like the loss of Dylan or the loss of Helena, and like they even established that like Helena and Mock don't really have anybody that could like visit them like Dylan can. But of course that probably is a lie too, because of course like Mock's sister could go visit Mock if they really wanted them to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure Devin would love it.
Bring her husband, I forgot his name. I don't know how I forgot his name. It's Rick something.
It's Rickon Hale.
Yeah, Rick and Hale. What a wonderful character.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know about it, but I sent you that like they did write like a couple of chapters of that book. Are you gonna read the book, Ben?
I don't know. Maybe?
Like it has an audiobook as well.
Does he read it?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, it's such a good show, Cam. It's such a good show. Where even someone like the main character's sister husband is such a three-dimensional character.
But like the fact that it's like he's writing the book for the idiots or changing it for Lumen's fucking propaganda. He's trying to like fucking justify it.
But he's doing it for his family. I mean, he definitely has an ego, and it's probably
Really?
also yeah, I know, believe it or not, he kinda likes the sound of his own voice.
I love how so much of like you have that moment of like I forget what episode of season 1 it is where he drops off the book and he's so happy, so proud. He's like, I'm gonna place it right here. I placed the book. He's so happy about it, and then you just reveal that his fucking dumb book is so fucking good, and like having just the Annie's read it and just find inspiration from this stupid source is such great like comedy, but also adds so much like it has a dramatic weight to it for the innies, which is great. Because like when of course when he meets the brother-in-law, he's like, "You mean everything to me," or some shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, the only other book they have is the Bible, essentially, the Kier Handbook. So this is like he's on the same level as Jesus Christ. Rickon is everything to him.
God. But yeah, it's a great show. I want to watch they I forget if it's Cold Harbor or the After Hours. Somebody on Twitter I just saw today, one of those episodes are it's named after a Twilight Zone episode. And Ben Stiller, or I forget if it was Ben Stiller, if it was the showrunner Dan Erickson. One of them said that the Twilight Zone episode is gonna be like set some stuff up for those episodes. For one of the episode, whatever the one, I forget. I think it's called Harbor.
It's the penultimate one, the After Hours, shares a name with a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, so I'm definitely want to check that out because if it would be cool to like watch that and then actually get the payoff of whatever they actually do with it.
That'd be interesting.
But my God, did you think Ben Stiller had it in him, Ben?
No, I didn't think he did any kind of like drama stuff. I mean, he's a comedian, right?
Like he has done dramatic roles in movies. I saw Walter Mitty as a kid. I want to rewatch it now after watching Severance because I'm like, is it as good as Severance? Not as good, but like, is it good? Because I don't remember anything about Walter Mitty, Ben.
I saw a trailer when I was a kid and said, "Ooh, that looks like a interesting idea. I wanna watch that someday," and I never did, and it's on my letterbox watch list still.
I I too remember the trailer being really good. I remember as a kid wanting to. I saw the movie in the theaters because of the trailer. Spoilers, Ben. The trailer is not like the movie, so the movie wasn't really made for like I don't know. I was like 11 or 12, so it wasn't really made for 11 and 12-year old like the trailer presented.
Yeah.
Because I think it was, if I remember correctly, I think the trailer does like suggest it's a little bit more dreamy and surreal than the actual movie is. It's kind of one of those like cop out stuff.
I don't even remember at this point other than it's a movie that I thought I would like. I don't even remember what the concept is at this point.
I don't know, definitely. I'm definitely gonna give it a watch soon. I'm curious. But my God, we haven't even talked about Christopher Walken and John Turturro's romance, Ben, that much. We discussed a little bit about Bert being a fucking dirty little liar, but like we talked about it a lot in this past couple of minutes. But like the mix of the humor and the dramatic really can be felt the most probably with those two characters in their relationship because it is absurd and hilarious that John Turturro and Christopher Walken are in love with each other, but also like it's not just played for comedy. There is a real genuine connection those two characters have, and they do play it also for just as much as you would with any other romance. What is your thoughts on John Turturro and Christopher Walken being in love, Beth?
I mean, I don't think I've seen Christopher Walken in it
Damn.
that I can think of.
Yeah, and like John Turturro is that just the oh Big Lebowski? You've seen him in Big Lebowski.
I've seen that movie once. I couldn't tell you what character he played.
He played Jesus, the one of the most memorable characters of all the film, dude.
Oh.
I feel like if you watched it now, you would find it funnier.
I've only seen that movie once, and I was not sober.
But I feel like you would find it even funnier now because you're just be like, oh my god, it's the guy from Severance.
Oh, Christopher Walken was in Batman Return?
Yeah, he had his son Chip, who had like a Christopher Walken impression. He was like, "Dad, don't leave."
And Pulp Fiction? And Ants? Do you like Ants, Cam?
I have not seen it as an adult, and neither don't I don't really want to because I would just be thinking, "Oh my god, that's Woody Allen in a kids movie. That's really fucked up."
It ain't no Bug's Life.
No, Bugs Life. Well, like I shouldn't say that. Bugs Life could have had a child rapist in the starring role. I forget who stars in Bugs Life.
Flick is Dave Foley, and Hopper is Kevin Spacey.
Oh fuck. Okay, I think that's going to be all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. Next week, you will return to our regular programming of Doctor Who watch along goodness. I hope you enjoyed it. If anyone at all watches or listens to this, I'll be very shocked. Bonus episode number 3. It's not even Doctor Who at all. We can do whatever the fuck we want, Ben. We are in control, Ben. Nobody can stop us.
Yes. Alrighty.
Please remember to like and subscribe if you want more Severance.
I mean, we're definitely going to talk about it again. I mean, I'm sure at the end of season 2, we're going to have another hour of thoughts.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's like we still have 3 episodes left, so it's gonna be like it's gonna be insane, man.
4, I think.
I'm sorry, 4 episodes. Yeah. God, thank God. It would have sucked. But also, this is my first time I have to wait a whole fucking week for an episode. It's gonna kill me, then.
This was the first time I had to wait. It's going to suck waiting between 9 and 10. That is going to be a long
Oh
week.
yeah. And then like, but no, the worst is gonna be from fucking whatever season 2 ends and season 3 starts.
Yeah. Hopefully it's like 2026, 2027.
That would be awesome if they were like, we already are starting production starting like next fucking week.
It seems like when nothing is confirmed yet.
But I did just read right now that the reason why this one did take so long was because of the writer's strike, and then they had the actor's strike and the writer's strike, so that just delayed production even longer. So we probably would have got this last year if it wasn't for everything, all those strikes. So that's good. Hopefully we don't have any more strikes, and we'll get this in a year and a half, 2 years.
I totally jumping back into it. Do you think the balloons are going to come back into play? Like I see it in promotional stuff, but like it was just in the first episode.
I don't know. I have no idea. But also, like, go more back into it. Like, Did you see that the Heli R stuff is set up in the first episode? Sorry, I shouldn't say the Heli R stuff. That's I need to be a little bit more specific. Her drowning is set up in the first episode. In the stop motion movie, she's like in her head and she's bobbing for she's bobbing for pineapples, remember?
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
like that is set up in that first like stop motion scene. So I rewatched that. I was looking for it. I was like, I couldn't find anything else. I'm like, oh, that might link, but nothing I could see. But I kind of hope that like maybe at the end of the season it's gonna reveal more stuff.
That stop motion was the one thing you got spoiled on, right?
Yeah, but only like the one bit with John Turturro being the character, the Ice Master or whatever the fuck he's called in A Year Without Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Which did you know that was directed by the guy who did Anomalisa with Charlie Kaufman, which is why the stop motion would look so good.
Really?
Yeah, Brandon Duke, I think is his name.
Cool.
But anyways, because this could go on for a long time. So goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out. I hope you have a good rest of your day, week, last year, whatever the fuck. Goodbye.
See ya.